Mike Roeth is joining us. He is the ED of NACFE, the North American Council for Freight Efficiency, Executive Director, and the research continues. Hey, Mike, good morning.
Good morning, guys. I'm glad to start my week with you guys. Hopefully things are good.
Well, that's a nice thing to say, and we feel exactly the same way. Where are you? We're in the convention center in New Orleans at the big Trimble Technology Conference, where technology meets the road here in New Orleans. Where are you this morning?
So I'm in Gulf State Park around Gulf Shores, Alabama, right on the coast, and enjoying some gorgeous weather before I head home to Indiana for the holidays, guys.
Yeah, I think you were there last week, weren't you?
I have been. I've been here a few weeks after an incredibly busy year where I literally was somewhere in this country every week. I'm settling down a little bit here in November and December, and that's kind of the way the NACFE team is. We're hunkered down with 2 million lines of data from the run and trying to figure out all the interesting nuances that data is telling us about all these messy middle technologies.
Let me ask you something that I've never asked, and maybe our listeners would be interested to know. NACFE, the North American Council for Freight Efficiency, I don't mean individually, of course, but who are the folks who would be on the council, and how many folks are with NACFE?
Yeah, that's interesting. So that's a great question, and it's not an easy one to answer. We
I know that's
membership.
Yeah, I know that's and the reason I've never asked you before, but I thought we'd take just a moment to kind of walk through this so folks get a better sense of who you guys are.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So it takes a village. It takes lots of people in cooperation to make anything happen, particularly when you're looking at saving money, hauling freight, and we look at it from saving fuel and being more efficient and so forth. So our audience, I would say, because we everything we do is publicly available, everything's free of charge. We do that because we have support from the industry. Corporations provide donorship and money and so forth. So, to answer that question, we've got a list of people that we work closely with throughout, and be the truck manufacturers, suppliers, other associations, and so forth. Our the closest thing we have to membership is a newsletter list. So we have over 10,000 email addresses at multiple companies and organizations, and these are very eclectic, guys. I mean, we have Wall Street analysts that look at the trucking financials, who are I suppose customers or fans, members of NACFE through that newsletter membership, as well as everything from anything you can imagine, regulators, media, and on and on and on. So we view our main audience, the fleets, the carriers that are making the decisions on what trucks to buy, how to train drivers, and how to operate their trucks, because that's the biggest sort of impact. But then after that, it's like when I'm in the South, I call it all y'all. So there's everybody else everybody else that's out there helping the fleets do it, and that's a very, very broad audience. So I think our 10,000 is just scratching the surface, and we want to grow that, and we believe we are through the outreach we have with the work we've done.
It's interesting too, because it's sort of weird. I remember through most of my radio career, it's been the supply chain has been a 3-link chain. You had your shipper, your carrier, your receiver, and that was the supply chain. And then our eyes were all opened in terms of how we fit into the universal supply chain. But it's so interesting that we preach to the choir so much, and we keep information proprietary in the industry quite a bit, not by choice really, but because nobody else seems to be interested. But what you just said here says to me that at long last there are other folks who aren't tied at the waist to trucking, but still understand the importance, are seeing what some of these technologies, some of the new fuels, you know what I mean, some of the things that you guys are exploring, like the messy middle 18-day run, they basically are taking an interest, so you don't have to re-explain everything every day to everybody all the time. That's got to get old, right?
Well, that's right. And I think, any group, let's just call it any group that gets the thing done and, doesn't upset the apple cart, doesn't bother lots of other people, just gets stuff done. So trucking, I've said many times, we're a very organized machine of getting all the goods that the consumers need and want to them. And when that's going well and we don't have, issues that are preventing that, whether it's simple things like the weather, but also down trucks or different kinds of things that have caused us to struggle, when it all is working, we don't want the notice and the notoriety and the attention. We don't need it. Just keep doing what we're doing. Keep on trucking, as they've said for 70 years. But things are hard. Things are tough. Challenges exist, whether it's high fuel prices, whether it's driver attraction, whether it's, recessions and good times and bad times around freight. Those are times where, everybody needs to come together at an even higher level, and that's where things get kind of tough and rough. So this modesty that I think is a real benefit of the trucking industry at times can be a problem for us. And, maybe we're seeing that a little bit with the messy middle. We now have to have relationships with a broader audience, who'd have thought we would be dealing with hydrogen as a truck fuel or working with utilities on electricity at the level we're talking about to get 6-8 megawatts of power at a trucking depot. These are new challenges or opportunities. I mean, call it whatever you want, whether you may be half glass, half full, or half empty. But that's the way I feel. And I think the trucking industry can definitely get it done no matter how broad and big we are.
It's interesting. I made this statement a couple of times here this morning. We're at the Trimble conference here where technology meets the road. There are no trucks in the exhibit hall. It's a trucking show with no trucks. And that is becoming less and less unusual because all of the stuff that's new is too small to see, really. You hold it in the palm of your hand and it changes the entire dynamic of that vehicle, a little computer. But we basically, you're basically talking to a guy who lost the train of thought of what he was about to say. But what I'm getting at is,
there's just the software that exists in these trucks and the number of computers, not only just on the truck, but at the dealership, at the fleets, at the telematics providers, at the people that support the analyses with that data. I mean, it's incredible. And yeah, you're exactly right. You can't see that. I mean, when we started, you could see brakes, you could see transmissions, you could see shifter, clutch pedals and all that. And it was all a much more physical kind of world. And so that brings up lots of challenges. I mean, I feel pretty stupid when I go to events like you guys are sitting at right now.
I had to ask some grammar. I had to ask about grammar and words and vocabulary. Yeah, for sure.
I get it.
But I just got a hand signal that I fully understand. It was from Andre saying our time is up. Mike, always a pleasure. Enjoy the Gulf Coast as much as you can and have a safe trip back home.